Alright guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today we're going to be talking about the collapse of the US empire. Now, there's a lot happening, a lot going on in the world. We see this new, well, not new, what am I saying? This US and Iran war, but it's been escalating to a level that is basically of no return. For me, this US and Iran war is a big, probably the biggest indicator of the US empire collapsing. And why? Well, there seems to be no signs of it slowing down. They had the ceasefire deal that was in the works, but of course that went to shit. And really, that was never even a real ceasefire. A lot of the people, a lot of journalists, and this new famous guy named Professor Young, a lot of people were predicting that the ceasefire is kind of just for show. It's just optics, and it's really just to try to delay time for the United States and basically stall so that they can start preparing to go further into war. As we see now, it's basically what happened. The ceasefire has ceased, no pun intended, and now as we can see, it's pretty much going full throttle, and it's been escalating. I think we're in the 13th night of strikes, so we're basically in full on war. And for me, this is a sign that seems like we're just going to go further and further, and we are literally going to go all the way with this war until Iran is terminated or until the US collapses. And for me, again, that's why I think it's the biggest indicator of the US empire collapsing. And other signs that I see that shows of no slowing down is that they're not just bombing, they're not even bombing, like, at least from my intel, they're not bombing military, they're bombing civilian infrastructure. And so they're bombing bridges, schools, water sources. And so it's from that point it's GG because it's straight savagery. It is straight demonic behavior. I've never seen anything like it, at least in my lifetime. And of course, I have a little lifetime. But, anyways, that's besides the point. It is just demonic behavior. And at first, I was wondering why they're doing that. Because it just seems straight evil. And it is. But at least from my understanding after watching a few videos on it, is that their strategy, the United States strategy, is to try to basically implode Iran from within. Now, what I mean by that, they don't have the weaponry or the forces or the position to be able to completely eliminate Iran's military. And so, and if they do eliminate Iran's military, it would probably cost a lot of resources that the US is not willing to give up. So, they have now changed their strategy, and that's kind of, I believe, what the ceasefire was for. There's a YouTuber named Alex Way that made a video on it. I highly suggest you check the video out because he explains it super well. Basically, the ceasefire was to stall because they realized that their plan of just going for military is not working. So now they switched their strategy to aim for civilian infrastructure so that basically the civilians will suffer, and from the civilian suffering they'll basically tell their own military, like, hey, like, stop fighting back, we're suffering, people are dying, kids, women are all dying. We don't have water because they're destroying the water sources, there's no school, there's no food, there's nothing, right? And so this is the demonic strategy behind the United States and what they're going for now. We already know that our government is ran by the P word, can't say it, because of the Epstein files. And so we already know how corrupted it is, that they're hiding things. And this to me just is the pretty much the cherry on top on the corruption. And again, we're fighting a war that has no basis whatsoever. Not only that, we already know it's been publicly announced that this war is being fought basically for Israel. But guess what? Israel is not even fighting in the war. So what's going on there? Israel was initially, I believe they were initially at war a little bit with Iran, but now they're not even in the war. So now it's just the United States at war with Iran. And so it is just unbelievable what's happening. And for me, I don't see an end to it. Another sign showing that there's not going to be an end to the war is that they showed a news basically of these people working for the US. I don't know if they were soldiers or I don't know what, but they were basically on the US side. And I believe about 3 of them died, I think a few injured. And they, I'm pretty sure the US is hiding a lot of statistics on deaths and what's really happening. Of course, we know that the mainstream media is hiding a lot of what's going on in the Middle East, in the war, and in Lebanon and in Gaza, etc. But here's the thing: they purposefully showed these deaths for the U.S. But why would they do that? Well, at least my thinking is that they showed the deaths because it basically gives U.S. more of a reason or more of a sort of showing everybody like, hey, look, they killed our people, and because the U.S. is known for like trying to stand up for themselves and honor and take vengeance, then it just gives them more of a reason to just go further because hey, they killed our guys. Like now we have to eliminate Iran completely, and I think that's basically why they released it. And again, another sign for me that there is no slowing down. They're going all the way. They're going full throttle. A lot of predictions on ground invasion, which is supposedly going to happen in a few months, probably 2 months to be honest with you. And yeah, I just don't think it's going to be sustainable whatsoever. I think people are going to rebel. They're going to have to start rebelling because here's the thing. I mean, we already know that the Strait of Hormuz is a big kind of choke point in this war and for the global economy. And it seems like it's just gonna get wiped out. Gonna be in pretty much in a war zone, and so that's gonna ruin the global economy, and things are just gonna get worse economically for the U.S. and everywhere. And again, it's not sustainable. It's just not sustainable. And I want to add that when I mean it's not sustainable, I mean a lot of things are not sustainable in the system. And for example, the Epstein files still not being released, Diddy being free and not having any consequences for any of his actions. Clearly, the system is not working. It's not sustainable. There's no justice being served. So, how do we expect for things to be corrected? At some point, the people have to rebel. So I think people are going to rebel back because of the atrocities the US is causing. And not only that, because our economy is just going to get worse and worse. And so people have no choice but to rebel. Moreover, we even have this automated draft registration that's coming in December, and that's by no accident and it's not coincidental. Obviously, the government is doing that intentionally because they know we're going for a ground invasion eventually. And we are going to start getting young adult males to go in this war. And I think that's just another sign of, or another reason of rebellion, because these young males aren't going to want to go to war. Not only the younger generation, but pretty much everybody knows that this war is on behalf of Israel, and I think these young males are not going to want to go fight, and rightly so. It's mandatory draft, right? Like, and you're automatically registered, right? And that's again not by accident. And so this is just going to be an even bigger point of rebellion. It seems like all signs are pointing to a complete collapse of the U.S. and again this sort of potential revolution that's going to happen. All signs are kind of pointing towards it. And yeah, that's pretty much where we're at nowadays. Seems like we're about to be in for a ride. There's a lot of change that's going to happen. It's going to be a lot happening at once. But all this change is necessary. It's a part of the process for the evolution of humanity, I believe, and the evolution of consciousness. So we all just have to be prepared and realize that, this is all for basically a higher reason that we don't know why, but for whatever reason, the universe is making this happen. And again, I think it is for the evolution of consciousness, but that's a different topic for a different day. And yeah, all we can really do is buckle up, get ready, and expect for a lot of things to change. You're gonna probably have to let go of a lot of stuff, um, and it's all for the better ultimately. So, anyways, that's all I gotta say. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I love you all, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, y'all.